What is good, y'all, and welcome back to another video. And as you guys probably know, if you've been paying attention to the NBA recently, a bunch of stars have been traded and a bunch of stars are being speculated to be traded. Like Kevin Durant is still in speculations, Jimmy Butler still hasn't been traded, a lot of people haven't. But someone I've been thinking about is Brandon Ingram. I mean, he's been kind of rumored to be traded for the past year or so, and he never really has, especially because he's been injured a lot this year. And Trey Murphy took a big jump this season. I feel like him being traded is actually really realistic. So if I can make a bet and you have one last prediction before the NBA trade deadline tomorrow, I think Brandon Ingram might be one of the stars who gets traded. And we're about to get into where I think he's going to be going in a second. But before we do that, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel every single day and try to build a bigger audience every day. So make sure you guys are along for that. But yeah, let's get into it. So it all starts with a tweet I got about a week ago. I kind of just had it saved and never really got to it. Maybe thought potentially it could be a video, and it reads, "The Raptors are looking for a significant piece to pair with Scottie Barnes." And I thought of it and I was like, okay, maybe it could be someone. I'm not really sure who they would go for because the Raptors are not good this year. But I kind of just kept it in my files and was wondering, like, who could this be? And when you look at the Raptors in the standings, you realize they're not a good basketball team right now. They have no playoff hopes at the moment, and they're kind of just a team where you're building for the future, but you still have the star in Scottie Barnes, so you kind of want to make happy and don't want to, disappoint him. You also have guys around him like RJ Barrett, quickly, who are good, solid, young, up-and-coming players, but, you kind of don't want to win now, but you kind of don't want to, disappoint those stars, if you get what I mean. And the Pelicans are just as bad as the Raptors, as they're also 12-38, which is horrible. I mean, the 14th seed, they have no playoff hopes, and they kind of been around the 8th seed play-in team the last few years, but this season they're really just tanking, not doing good at all. Zion has not really been healthy. Brandon Ingram hasn't been healthy, like you said before. They had some guys like Trey Murphy step up. CJ McCollum's having a solid year, but they're not really a good team, and they honestly don't need the older player in Brandon Ingram. I mean, if you want to build around someone, it would be around Zion and Trey Murphy, and you would get rid of Brandon Ingram, who's still young enough to keep a Scottie Barnes type of player content for the future, because he's still young enough. I think he's mid-late 20s, and Scottie Barnes early 20s, whatever. But they could still build upon getting Brandon Ingram, and I mean, Brandon Ingram going to the Raptors could be a huge help for Scottie Barnes. Even though they're not a playoff team yet, they could definitely be in the next few years if they add someone like Brandon Ingram, rather than an older star like a Jimmy Butler or so, because that wouldn't really make sense, And a tweet about a week ago we actually got saying, from NBA Central actually, saying the Raptors are a team to watch for Brandon Ingram, and it's per the Stein line, and the Stein line also quotes saying, "I'm told Toronto has emerged as a team to watch when it comes to Ingram. It remains to be seen whether the Raptors become more than that where Ingram is concerned, but the mere suggestion of potential Raptors interest is the most significant development in weeks when it comes to New Orleans forward, who has earned his lone All-Star berth during the 2019-20 season, interrupted by the coronavirus pandemic." So, I mean, the Raptors are interested, and it makes sense, like this tweet just said, and just for the reasons I said before, and for these reasons, I mean, Brandon Ingram, I feel like, is a perfect fit for the Raptors, and I feel like he's the last star that could be traded besides, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, potentially. I feel like he's that last star that could be traded this deadline. And that quote kind of makes sense, as we haven't really heard Brandon Ingram trade talks in a while. I mean, we had it in the offseason, but we haven't really heard it this trade deadline. So, I mean, to hear the Raptors are interested in him, it makes sense a lot. And the next tweet that kind of sealed the deal was from NBA Central a few days ago, not a week ago, saying Toronto's interest in Brandon Ingram is real, per Jake L. Fisher. So it's a different source this time, but it's kind of backing up the claim from the Stein line before, saying it is a real possibility that Brandon Ingram goes to the Raptors this trade deadline. And I feel like not many people have been talking about this, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense for the Raptors and for the Pelicans. And for an actual trade package, I don't really know how that would look like. I mean, maybe some picks would be involved, maybe a Jakob Poeltl contract, maybe even RJ Barrett, depending on how much the Pelicans actually demand. But I feel like the asking price for Brandon Ingram's only been going down recently. All the injuries and the fact that they have Trey Murphy kind of taken away his shine. So I don't really know exactly. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. Like the video, do all that stuff. And, hopefully my prediction is right. I got the Chris Middleton one wrong. I got the Bradley Beal one wrong. I got the Fox one right, but I got everything else wrong. So hopefully this prediction is right for me. And yeah, see you guys.